Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast. I am one of your hosts, Lara Sturm.
And I'm Josh Rohr. Welcome to episode 67.
A momentous week, Josh.
A momentous
Lots
week.
Of things.
Yeah, talk about it.
Well, I mean, it got official that the IPF was voted out last week, but they dropped, hey, since we're losing them, we're going back to our old weight classes.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And I think that's funny because so many people are like, why are we changing to these new weight classes? Like, why don't we stick with the old ones? But these are the old ones. Like,
the old ones.
We only switched them like I think it was like 2013, but a lot of the lifters that are kind of in their heyday right now, some of them started after that. A lot of them started after that.
Youngsters. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
So cute. But I mean, I think it's good. I mean, having some of those extra weight classes for women, I think is huge.
Yep. I think so. I've been kind of following some of the posts on Instagram and stuff like that, but I think the people that are the most upset with it are the 63 kilo women, which was your weight class, because they either have to go from 138 to 148 or from 138 down to 132. And I think percentage wise, what I've been seeing from some of the numbers is that's the biggest percentage change for anybody.
So my question would be, do the old records come back?
So my assumption is they're going to be based on body weight, what you weighed during the meet. So if you weighed 63 and have a record, it'd move up to the 148 records. But the thing to remember is we had these weight classes for decades prior to 2013, and we retired the old weight classes, which are now the new weight classes. So I'm thinking, again, I have no idea how they're going to do this for sure, but my thought is, based on what you weighed, you'll get rolled into the current, or I guess the new old weight classes, the ones that'll start January 1. But I'm also thinking that they're going to unretire those previous records that were retired and, basically combine them. Is my thought. Yeah, right. I don't know, but that seems like it would be the most logical, because it doesn't make sense to me to have retired records that are in the current weight classes. So once we get to those previous weight classes, we might as well unretire those records that we had, and just combine everything.
And the other big thing that I saw was they're relaxing the, IPF approved equipment.
Yeah, that was one thing that's always been kind of a thorn in our side is having to adhere to that. And I guess that was one of the, we're talking about the drug testing issue all the time, but that is also one of the main points of contention we had, is that starting essentially January 1, that top to bottom, we had to follow the IPF approved gear list. And we had done that, at nationals and up, but they were basically going to say we had to do it at, local meets and everything like that, which is not, I mean, as you know, is not lifter friendly at all. So now that we are officially not part of the IPF, we're basically not requiring it at any level. As long as it meets specs, you can wear it. So it's, there is, so one of the questions, celebration. Yeah, one of the questions that came up is like, well, what about our sponsors that, paid to advertise our gear? Well, they paid the IPF. They've never paid us to be approved gear vendors. So, we are going to, let anybody that they want be a vendor, or not be a vendor, but be a, equipment can be worn. But we're going to have a list of preferred vendors where if a company wants to pay a fee to be highlighted, like they can, but we're not going to require it to be able to use your equipment. So,
which I think is pretty different.
Yeah. So it basically gives the vendors the option whether they want to be a preferred vendor or not. And it gives the lifter the option of wearing anything they want as long as it meets specs. So, it's it's a lot less red tape.
For sure. And it'll be a lot simpler and more lifter friendly, which
Yep.
at the end of the day, that's what this is really about.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And that, that's always been, I think, one of the knocks on USA powerlifting is it's not lifter friendly. And to a degree, I agreed with that, but there was basically our hands being tied by the IPF. Like we had to do some of these things that is considered not lifter friendly. So,
Right.
Now that's not necessarily the case. And honestly, like even before, like we were technically supposed to have the IPF approved gear list being used at every level, but it's kind of like, well, we'll do it at nationals when everybody's watching, because we're trying to bridge that gap, but
Right.
now we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Right. So any other developments, announcements besides those two?
Well, I think just the, I guess touching on the weight classes, so we went back to the original weight classes, but we also added a heavier weight class for the women and a heavier weight class for the men. And I know that's something that a lot of people have been really, I guess, pushing for. Lifters just saying, as a 185 pound female, like if you weigh 186, you're considered a heavyweight, and that's, you might be lifting against somebody 300 pounds. That's a big difference. So adding that 220 weight. Well, so not only that, like we had back to the 198 class that we always had before. And then in addition to that, we have a 220 pound weight class now. So it gives people a lot more options to, compete in a class that's more suitable for people their size and competing against people similar to their size, I guess is more better way to put it.
And are there additional weight classes for men as well?
Yeah, there's one. So a lot of organizations, they have a 308 weight class, which is 140 kilos. So we're also adding that one in. And USA Powerlifting used to have that way back when. Actually, I think they used to have that or a 145 kilo weight class, which was a 319. I can't remember which one they used to have, but 308 is a popular one now that most organizations also have. So this kind of gives us just more uniformity, like across the spectrum. So if people want to bounce back and forth between federations, they can. They don't have to make different weight classes going back and forth.
Right.
The only thing that has come out of this though is currently as it is, there's not an even number of weight classes for men and women. I can see that potentially being something that's discussed at some point, because that was one of the, I guess we'll say the positives that the IPF did is they created equal number of weight classes for men and women. I'm not sure what to say on that, I guess. But I think it gives more opportunities to both men and women this way. So yeah, they're not even, but I think it's better overall than what we had.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a chick. I just look at the chicks' weight classes, right? I barely look at the men's, and that's only when I'm a meet director. So, I mean, is everyone like that? I have no idea. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Just for simplicity's sake, like most of the weight classes are the same for men and women. Just the women's go a little bit lower and the men's go a little bit higher, but all like the majority of them are the same for men and women. So it makes it a little bit easier to remember, I guess. Just got to remember the far ends. Right.
Well, I mean, I think it's all good stuff, right? And I did listen to the I don't know if it was leaked or what, how this video came about, but I watched the video from the IPF meeting where the the vote happened, and kind of the presentation that was put on with Larry and Dan Goudreau, and kind of the rebuttal with Gaston and I don't remember the other gentleman's name. And there might have been more rebuttals, and I just zoned out after a while because it got to be pretty long. But I thought it was pretty clear that the writing was on the wall. And I think, to stay in the IPF, we would just have to do exactly what they said. And it kind of goes against our values, right? So I don't, right, wrong, or indifferent, like I don't think there was any way we could stay in.
Yeah.
If that's the rules. We can't go against the rules, then well, we're out.
Yeah. I mean, or adhere to them and basically just, screw the lifters, like screw the
Screw the clean
testing,
platform, screw
screw
the
all that stuff.
transparency.
And that's what's gonna be interesting with Powerlifting America. I don't know if you've heard about that too much yet, but basically, that's an organization started by Rob Keller, down in Florida, but that's already been voted in as the replacement for USA Powerlifting for the IPF.
Right.
So the new affiliate to the IPF is Powerlifting America. And, everybody's like, well, if they're becoming the affiliate, why couldn't we just do that? We were already the affiliate. Well, wait and see what's going to happen. They're going to require IPF approved gear top to bottom. They're going to probably not drug test at the local level if they even have local meets. Like that's kind of my theory. I'm almost wondering if they're even going to have local level meets or not, or just have a nationals every year to qualify for the IPF Worlds.
So in the end, would that almost do? I mean, if they just had a nationals and they just had a Worlds, wouldn't that kind of do what was proposed?
Yeah, that would almost be exactly what we proposed. The caveat though is the WADA code and the IPF prohibit you competing in. So it used to be you couldn't compete against a foreign, or you couldn't compete at a non. You couldn't compete at a world championship I'm sorry, I'm butchering this. You couldn't compete at an international competition outside of the IPF. That was the rule. And you also couldn't compete against a banned lifter. That was the rule. Now you cannot compete outside of a fully recognized IOC, or I'm sorry, a fully recognized WADA compliant organization. So that means that IPF lifters or Powerlifting America lifters, even if they're not drug tested, they're WADA compliant, they can't lift in USA Powerlifting because USA Powerlifting is not fully WADA compliant. That would theoretically make them ineligible to compete at the IPF or Powerlifting America competitions. For us, we don't give a shit. The USA Powerlifting doesn't care. You can go lift in the IPF, whatever, come back. And we never really cared about that, but it was a rule we had to enforce through the IPF before, and now they've stepped it up even more. It used to just be you can't compete against a band lifter, you can't compete at an international meet that's not a IPF meet. Well, now you can't compete anywhere unless it's a 100% WADA compliant organization, which is basically nobody except for Powerlifting America, if they choose not to drug test at the local level. If they do test at the local level, like they're not going to be around long because it's, again, financially, it's not possible to do that.
Right. So they just won't be able to test at the local level. They'll hand over the testing to the third party, and they'll test whoever they want, won't tell you the results, and right.
Basically.
But so if you want to lift for, what's it called, Powerlifting America, if you want to lift for them, you can't lift in the USA Powerlifting.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Right.
But again, my question is, who's going to enforce that? Like, that is a lot of monitoring to do. Like, how are you, especially, I can see kind of doing a quick pull of the names lifting at Worlds or something like that. But even that's a lot of lifters that you got to track. So it's really going to be, my thinking is like a lot of people are probably going to do both. And just, so my assumption, I could be way wrong, is they'll do both. And if they get banned from, or if they get caught, then they just won't do the IPF or whatever anymore. I think people are going to roll the dice on that, because to actually monitor that and enforce that is going to be a huge undertaking. So I just don't see how that's going to be enforceable.
So what about the little loophole that some lifters found this year with lifting for the Virgin Islands?
Yeah,
that'd be the same problem.
Yeah, it'd be the same problem. So Virgin Islands is WADA compliant. They're the IPF affiliate. But that's what's going to be interesting now that a lot of the, I wouldn't say a lot, some of the lifters from the US went there. Are they going to stay there? And then essentially the US is fielding two teams, the one from Powerlifting America and the one from Virgin Islands, or are they coming back and lifting through Powerlifting America? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but
to be revealed.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Time. Yeah, I mean, this is all new. I mean, I think if you want a platform that's drug-free, that has a lot of things going on, that now that we have the handcuffs off,
yeah,
I think USA Powerlifting is going to take off.
Yeah, I do too. Like a lot of people are skeptical about that. Like, well, USA Powerlifting only got as big as it did through because the IPF and things like that. I disagree with that. Like we were bigger than the IPF. Like we had more members. Like we sent more lifters to Worlds than any other country.
Right.
Like, so I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. Like it's too, like, we're so similar. Like that's the part that really frustrates me is like what we say is important is drug testing. Our perception of what it actually that means is two different things. And that's the part. It's not like we're arguing over, I don't believe in drug testing. I do believe in drug testing. Like we both.
I believe in doping. Yeah, no. I mean, they both want a clean platform.
Yeah.
But one wants the Olympic committee recognition, and that's where it all falls apart, really.
And that's still, I mean, I've said this so many times already, but that's still where I just can't get past is like that WADA compliant label is more important than anything else
than actually being drug free
to the IPF. And the irony of it all is the gold standard of drug testing, aka WADA compliant, is not about catching cheaters. It's about checking off all the boxes on the WADA code, even if that means you're not drug testing, which to me, just, I can't, I'm not going to go into it again because I spiral out of control every time I try to rationalize that. It just, it makes no sense to me. And I don't respect it. That's the thing. I don't respect it. I used to think, hell, even 6 months ago, there was a question that came up, in our wildest dreams, what would we like to see change in powerlifting? And I said to get into the Olympics, like 6 months ago, even. And then all this stuff kind of started coming up, and I really started looking at it, and I'm like, man, this is like that would be super cool, but being in the Olympics really is not. It's not what I thought it was. Like I guess like it'd be super cool. Like it would still be super cool. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I didn't really think it would happen before the split. I don't think it's going to happen after. I just don't. I don't know. I think we're chasing that white whale, like in terms of Olympic recognition, which is justifying a lot of these things that are happening, that we're never going to catch that white whale.
Right. And the World Games is still, a powerlifting sport.
Yeah.
And for them to stay in the World Games, this is what it came to too.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like, they had to be, WADA compliant to stay in the World Games, which is, under the IOC, which I do get it. Like I get you want to be part of that, but where is the actual accountability, I guess, for if you're WADA, like how do you look yourself in the mirror when you say like we're the gold standard, here's what it takes to be fully WADA compliant, and one of those requirements is not perform X amount of drug tests or a certain percentage of drug tests. Like that's not on there,
right?
Is when you're the drug testing authority, quote unquote,
right?
Like it just seems when
you're letting a lot of people compete for a long time without being drug tested.
And they I mean, there's a lot of good things they've done. Like I do like, how they update their banned substance list every year, and they're always trying to be on the cutting edge of, these designer drugs and things like that pop up on the market. But, that's all fine and good putting it on the list, but if you don't actually have to test for those things, like what, that kind of freaking defeats the point.
There's that, right?
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Off on a rant. Now we're back. All right. So I know we had some questions.
Yeah, we had a couple questions come in this week. I'm gonna throw them to you this week.
Ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We'll start off with one of my favorites here. This is from Charlie the Fat. And this is a
Great
legit
name.
question. I'm not making this up.
Okay.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
42 cords of wood.
42 quarts?
Yeah. Cords.
Cords. 42 cords.
You know, we measure wood in cords.
I was gonna say 7 kilos.
Ooh.
That might be about the same. I'd have to check the conversion. So, all right. Well,
Serious
there you go.
question.
There you go, Charlie. 42 cords, or 7 kilos. I would accept both of those as answers. All right. Question number 2 from Seth_4_1. What are some super minor tips for my first meet, like ones normally not talked about?
Not normally talked about. Boy, well, we talk about everything's the problem.
Yeah, we try to.
Commands.
Yep. We talk about that one, but I can't overstate that enough.
Yes, absolutely.
Here's one that I think is not talked about enough is looking up the address to the venue and seeing how long it's going to take you to get there before you leave to go there. Because I would say not every meet, but fairly often there's somebody that's pushing it to get there in time to weigh in, and their excuse is, I didn't realize how long it was going to take me to get here. Well,
right.
That's poor planning.
Kind of, yeah. Or the one I hear all the time, or used to hear back when I did this. Socks. I have socks.
Yeah.
Long socks, you know, stuff like that. Belt. I have a belt. It's this padded Velcro belt. It's fine, right? Right.
Yep.
So
just commands, directions, reading the rule book.
Reading the rule book. Yeah. Go to watch a meet before you go. I mean, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. I do think lifters should try to watch or volunteer at a meet before they compete for the first time. I just think it like there's so many things that, you know, you and I right now are not thinking about, that you sit and watch, like you're gonna see something happen and be like, oh, I should make sure I don't do that, or I should remember to do that.
Right. Well, and just some of the lingo, right? Like flights. What's a flight? What's a lot number? I was like, what are you talking about? I remember that first time filling that out and being like, weight class. Why do they, what flight? I'm not flying anywhere.
That's a good one. Just some of the lingo, like you said. Opener. What's an opener?
Right.
Your first attempt. You know, just things like that. Just kind of knowing.
Right. We get used to the lingo because we know it and we've been doing it for a while. But like the first time I filled out that form, I was like, I don't know what these people are talking about. Are they on drugs?
Yeah. Knowing the conversion, like from kilos to pounds, is good. Like most meets have a conversion chart, but if not, I guess here's a good one. Knowing to turn in attempts in 2.5 kilo increments. Because a lot of people like convert, you know, they want to open their squat at 315. So they convert it and they just say, you know, 313, or I'm sorry, 100 and I don't know, what is it? What is, I got to do the math now. What is the conversion, Laura? Pop quiz for you.
Oh God, don't do that to me. Nope.
2.2046. Yeah. So in kilos, 135 pounds is 142.8 kilos. So if somebody says, well, 143 kilos is what I want to open with, like, that's not an increment.
Right. I've seen people give me kilos with like decimals in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you understand, I can't actually load that on the bar.
Right. Yeah. So they convert it literally. So in this case, they would turn in 142 because the actual conversion is 142.88. So they turn in 142.88 or whatever. And you're like,
your lifter was better than mine then. Mine did the 8.8.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, just knowing that, I think is a big one. 2.5 kilo increments. You know, I'm trying to think of other, like I said, we do try to talk about most of these tips, but yeah, I would say all of that. You have to wear shoes. That Tay. We do have to have shoes on when you compete, so make sure underwear. Yeah. You know, and yeah, I don't know, just read just pay attention.
Read the damn rule book.
Read the rule book. Pay attention to our new lifter tips. We post one every week on Saturdays. If you're following those, you should be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Want to do hype songs?
Let's do hype songs. I'm hyped.
I mean, I'm pretty hyped. All right. I'm going to go first. My hype song number 2, Korn, Blind. Did I say this before? I think every meet should start with that song.
I think you said that about a different song somewhere.
Huh, weird.
Maybe. I think you're just hyping your own hype songs.
Could be.
Yeah. My number 2, Young Jeezy, Lose My Mind.
Hey, I'm about to lose my mind.
Yeah.
So I understand you. Charlie Jackson, Nanowar. Wait, your cursor's in the way. Stop that. Nanowar of Steel. Hallelujah. I kind of like that name, but I've never heard of that song.
Never heard of it.
Sounds interesting.
Jim Battenfield, Eminem, Till I Collapse.
Love that song.
That is a great one. I feel like that's realistically could be on everybody's list. So I
can't listen to that song anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was so on my hype list at my, I don't know, first or second. That was my first world championship. And if I listen to that song, I start to get like an adrenaline surge. It's like involuntary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that would be fine for a hype list song.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because that hype I got like to a place where I got overhyped, and then I would want to flee the building. So
it got you so hyped you were willing to run.
Yes. And I'm not willing to run for much. Cindy Yeager's number 2 song is Let's Go Crazy by Prince. That would get me hyped.
That's a great song. I can't say it would hype me up, but it's a great song. I love it.
It would get me hyped.
Yeah.
Not all of Prince songs would hype me, but that one would.
It's a pretty good one. Chris Peterson, Young Jeezy, Put On. This is probably my number 5 or my number 6 song. Actually, you know what? This one is interchangeable with the one I said, Lose My Mind. So I kind of have, I could put either one of them at number 2. But yeah, I left Put On off my list, but I am glad somebody else had it because it's a great song.
Wade Johnson, My Man. I love his list, like with all of my heart. Number 2, Slipknot, Psychosocial.
Yep.
Are you hearing a drill in the background?
I am. It's all right. Because
this would be the time to do so. Let's work. All right, let's get through this list.
All right. Chris Elmore, Pantera, Becoming.
Pantera. Need I say more?
No.
I should, actually, because Mike Haferbrack also had Pantera, Walk, which I think is a better song, actually, than Chris's. Sorry, Chris.
I think it is too, but they're both good.
Pantera, though. I mean, how can you not lift heavy to Pantera? You can't.
Yeah, you can't. You can. You can lift heavy to Pantera. You can't.
Oh, you can.
Can't not. Can.
Can't. Double negatives. It's really hard.
Hannah Keith, number 2. Megan Thee Stallion, Circles. Don't know the song. I've heard of Megan Thee Stallion. But I don't know anything about her. I don't know who she is. So we'll give it a maybe.
We don't know. A hands up.
Yeah.
Shayna White, BTS Dynamite. Don't know the song. I don't. Sorry. I'm sure it's Dynamite.
I'm sure it's. I see what you did there. Jeremy Hartman, Rob Zombie, Dragula. What did I say?
Straight.
I said Dracula.
Yeah,
Dragula.
It's about a car.
Yeah.
For sure. I love Rob Zombie. He sweated on me once. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was that close.
And you haven't showered since.
Never again. Rob Zombie's actually, he looks like a zombie a little bit. He lives it up to it. Yeah. Eric Cordero, Slayer, Raining Blood. I just like saying that.
Yeah.
Don't know the song, but
don't know it either.
That's cool.
Benji Green, Nothing More. Do You Really Want It?
Do you really want it? I love that song.
I don't know it. I feel like
oh my gosh, you need to listen to this song. It's really good. You have heard it because I know I played it.
Okay.
Yeah, good song.
Got it.
It'll make you scream, do you really want it? And then make you lift things that you couldn't do before.
That seems like a reasonable solution.
Hype song. Stephen Fortenberry. Fortenberry. Sorry. Hate Breed. Looking down the barrel of today. I don't know the song. Sorry.
I don't know it either.
Cool name though. Hate
Cool
Breed.
name. Hate Breed. Stacey Metcalf, AC/DC, Thunderstruck. This again to me is one of those quintessential meet day playlist songs for meet directors, for lifters, for anybody in search of hype. So I think this is a great one.
You can't go wrong. Right.
Can't go wrong.
Amy Pancake, Van Halen, Hot for Teacher.
Love the song. Can't say this one really gets me that hyped up. Like
It would get me hyped for school. Sorry, Amy. I love you, Amy. I do. I love you.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's
she
funny.
had a teacher she had a crush on.
You know, I'm a little bit wondering about that because her number 4 song was Drop Dead Legs. So I'm like, okay, that could be taken however. Maybe it was a teacher. And then Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart could also be like, oh man, that person kickstarts my heart. I'm obviously way reading into
Amy
things
has
here.
some unrequited love.
Yeah, something.
Yes.
Can't say.
Amy, we need to talk.
Oh man. Megan Powell, Little John in the pit. And she
Non-explicit.
She specifically said to make sure it was the non-explicit version.
Because we don't want to fucking swear.
Right. No.
But I approve because sometimes you don't need all that. There's
Yeah,
so many songs that go so like graphic that I'm just like.
Oh, so I should say
in
this.
The 80s we had innuendos.
So I should say this though. My list is also the non-explicit version or radio edit, as they say, because I guess that's just how I've always heard the songs because I listen on, whatever.
Pandora edited.
But then I heard the real version, like even the song I just said, like Lose My Mind. I heard the real version and I'm like appalled. I'm like, oh, what is this? So I can't listen to the explicit versions.
Yeah, there's
on a lot of this.
Yeah, you're right on that one. Yeah. There you go.
And what's the funny part is like a lot of the version I listen to just like it mutes the audio or like the vocals during that part. So it's just like a gap of music, but with no audio.
And you didn't know you were missing.
I didn't know I was missing anything. I thought that was just the song. So then when I heard it, I was like in shock on 2 fronts. Like one, what are these? There's words here. What is this? And then when I heard the words, I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Josh blushes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much, actually.
It doesn't take much
to make Josh blush.
Yeah.
Marshall Powell, I Prevail, Hurricane.
Don't know.
I got nothing. Sorry.
Jenna Weinstein, System of a Down, Chop Suey.
I got System of a Down played out too much. I can't listen to System of a Down anymore. Sorry.
Really? Well, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I think it's a good song.
You go. Gretchen Pexios / World on Fire. Don't know that one.
I don't know it either.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Our last number 2, Katie Dodge, Foo Fighters, The Pretender.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know if it hyped me, but I like the song.
I'm terrible at this. I don't know most of these songs. I'm the worst. But it is what it is.
You are the worst. All right, powerlifting situation. You ready? Or
I'm
we've
ready.
been here too long?
No, let's do it.
All right. You just missed weight, so you're moving up a weight class. You tried for the entire 90-minute window and didn't make it. You had to spit and didn't make it. Your flight starts in 30 minutes. Do you raise, lower, or keep your opener the same?
I think you keep it the same, but you make sure you're ready to make a change, because if you cut that hard, you haven't had a chance to eat, you haven't had a chance to really rehydrate. You literally are going from spitting to hitting a warm up. Like, so if your flight starts in 30 minutes, you literally got to go, get your knee sleeves on, get your squat shoes on, all of that. So you might only have like a 20-minute window to actually warm up. and that's like rush. So you're going to be rushed. You're not going to be replenished. I would say there's a very good chance you're going to end up needing to lower it, but I would not lower it until you know for sure. And you'll
Right.
know that based on warmups. Now, the other side of that to me is like, if you don't really have anybody helping you and you're kind of warming up on your own and you know you're going to be rushed, like you going to the score table in time to change your opener is probably not going to really be on the top of your priority list because you're trying to get warmed up. So if that's the scenario, you might be wise just to go straight to the table, lower it, and then go warm up. If you don't have anybody helping you, just to make sure you don't bomb out for, not being able to warm up heavy enough and all that stuff. So that would be my thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely not raise it. I mean, I know we put that in because that's one of the choices, I guess, but yeah, don't go raising it.
Well, and I think
stick with a plan.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Stick with the plan until you need to change. And I think with the plan is to make weight and go eat and replenish, right? So you're already not following the plan because you missed weight.
Right.
So
and you're probably flustered.
Yeah, you're going to be flustered. Like, I'm sure your nerves are going to be kicking in more than normal. Just honestly, the not being able to eat and drink right after you weigh in. And even if you do eat and drink now, like, you're literally going to be doing it in between warm-up sets. So like, it's probably not going to be sitting really well with you. I just think there's a good chance you're going to need to lower it, but I would, if you can, I would wait till you start hitting some of the warm-ups to know for sure.
Right.
And to know how much to lower it, I guess, would be the other thing. Because you can only do that change once. So if you lower it 5 kilos and then
what we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good point. Go ahead.
All right. So we're gonna new lifter tip. Attempt changes. Once you submit an attempt, you cannot change it except for your opening attempt. You can change it once, 3 minutes before your flight starts. And your third attempt deadlift, you can change it twice, as long as the bar is not called loaded for you specifically. Attempt changes are part of the sport. Knowing when and how to use them can be a game changer. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. I think
that really?
No,
wow.
Absolutely agree. And I think the one that most people don't, well, I think a lot of people don't know both of these. They don't realize that you can change your opener. Some people I've seen, even at national meets, they try to change it twice because they don't know you can only change it once. So there was one meet, I won't say names. I saw somebody raise it, I think playing head games, and then last minute, like before the 3 minute window, they went to lower it back down. And they're like, you can't make a second change on your opener, and they bombed out. It's somewhat funny, I guess, but because they knew just enough to be dangerous, right? They tried to.
Were they a CrossFitter?
No, there's somebody that should have known the rule, honestly. But it happens. So just know that you can only change it once, and that's why I say too, like, going back to the powerlifting situation, like, yeah, you can lower it right away if you need to, but like, what if you didn't lower it enough? You can't change it again. So waiting until you start doing your warm up, so you kind of know where you're at, gives you a better judge of what to lower it to if you need to.
Right.
And then third attempt changes, like, a lot of people don't know about that either, but you can change it twice, up or down. And you can raise your third attempt or lower your third attempt, but you can't go below what's already loaded on the bar. You can't go below what you already completed. There'd be no point in that anyway, right? Or you can do it twice up until they say bar's loaded for you. So they could call your name, say, load the bar to, 200 kilos for Laura Sturm. And their spotters are loading the bar. Like, they set it down, they're cleaning it, and then you turn in a change. That's still fine because the ref hasn't said bar's loaded yet.
Bar's loaded. But once they say bar's loaded,
yep, you're locked in.
You're done.
So,
yep. Yeah.
Cool.
And that's important to know.
Yep. Agreed. And, does that come into play every meet? No. But when you need it and you need to, it makes a big difference, especially, that third attempt deadlift change for the win, or, your warm-ups are going terribly and you need to change your opener. Oh, one thing I did want to say on that, that applies to each individual lift. So you can change your squat one time, your bench one time, and your deadlift one time on your opener, up until the flight 3 minutes before the flight starts for each discipline. So it's not, so like your squat, the last chance you can change that is 3 minutes before your flight starts for squat. And then bench, you can change that up until 3 minutes before your flight starts for bench. And then deadlift up until 3 minutes before your flight starts for deadlift. So it's not like you have to change bench and deadlift before your squat starts. Each discipline is separate.
Right.
So that's something
Good
that's
point.
come up before too.
Good point.
People didn't realize
Right.
that they're individual like that. So
Right. There's a lot of nuances to the rules.
yeah, and they all really kind of make sense when you
Mhm.
actually understand them and I guess get comfortable with them and know the intention of them. I guess too. That
Mhm.
helps.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up and get out of here. Long episode.
Yep.
There was a lot to talk about.
Yep. Good stuff though. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, PL Ballads Podcast. Make sure you are following us because voting is going to start, I believe, in 2 weeks, and we want you guys to participate. So until then, we'll catch you guys later.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.